I've always believed chemistry had to be instant, but lately I'm wondering, can chemistry actually grow over time with emotional connection? I've always believed chemistry had to be instant, but I'm wondering, can chemistry grow over time with emotional connection? Well, I have a confession to make with everybody. Well, first off, I'm going to answer that question yes. Chemistry can grow over time. What is chemistry? Chemistry is brain chemicals chemicals from our brain being released, oftentimes dopamine, testosterone, estrogen, serotonin. That makes us feel good. Now, sometimes those chemicals are triggered by childhood wounds or adult traumas, believe it or not. We might find ourselves thinking we have chemistry with someone, healthy emotional chemistry, when it's actually something unhealthy in our life. But the question, what happens when you feel no chemistry for someone? Now, let me just say this. If you go on a date with somebody, and please forgive me if this is an insult for anyone, if they've got a beer gut the size of Texas and they're missing their front teeth and you're just grossed out and you'd never have sex with them, then don't follow my instructions today, okay? But if you go, God, I'm not feeling it for them, but they're not unattractive. You're not feeling it for them, they're not unattractive, then I'd say give it a shot. In fact, I have a personal share with everybody because this happened to me about 6-7 weeks ago. I actually had a date with a woman where our first date, there wasn't chemistry. Now, what I mean by there wasn't chemistry, for whatever reason, I felt like neutrality over this person. I wasn't feeling it for this person. I just wasn't feeling this instant pull like I have in the past. Now, as I reflect on my past relationships, those instant pulls were oftentimes my anxious attachment style, picking up on the avoidant attachment style from someone, and that's what drew me to the other person. And I suspect vice versa. But in this particular case, we had a 5-hour breakfast date overlooking the marina at a restaurant, mostly a coffee date. And we had this great conversation, but there was no chemistry. And what's kind of interesting is we end up talking on the phone 2 days later, and I confessed I wasn't feeling a connection. And she said she wasn't feeling a connection. And we're like, boy, that's kind of strange. We're both relatively attractive people. You know, we both have so much in common. We had a 5-hour conversation. We were having a great time. We went on to spend the next 5 hours on the phone unpacking why this happened. So then we started talking on the phone. We figured, let's just be friends. We'll help each other in the dating marketplace. But we got to share a bit about our lives. And the more I began communicating with her, the more I realized I like this person. I like this person. And we kept talking every day, a little by little. Oh my God. By the way, she and I can talk for hours. She is like my mirror. She will unpack things more than I do. It cracks me up. She's like my mirror. We have so much fun. She's into personal development, self-help, spirituality. She's into all the things I'm into. And it turns out we have many mutual friends. In fact, I called some of my friends to say, what do you know about her? And they ranted and raved about how wonderful she was. And she did the same thing. And my friend or those friends said the same thing about me. But there was no chemistry. And I was kind of surprised. And we were talking about this. Well, guess what? About 8 days later, we end up meeting up. And in that moment, I just gave her a big, gigantic kiss because I thought she's this amazing human being. And all of a sudden, the chemistry emerged. I'm serious. The chemistry emerged. Now, I felt like I had permission. It wasn't like I did some Me Too type of thing. I felt an invitation. But little by little, we were building an emotional connection over the phone over about a week and a half, speaking hours upon hours a day. And we're not trivial stuff, not the, how's your day going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. None of that crap. It was more like we were sharing about our past experiences. We were sharing about our fears, our insecurities. We were talking about our children. I was going through something kind of difficult with my son, and I was sharing it with her just because I thought she was going to be a friend in my life. But the more I communicated, the more I found myself attracted to who this person was. And little by little, for the last 6 weeks, we've spent a lot of time together, a lot of time together. And might be that this could be the one. I don't know. You know, what's interesting is we're honest with each other. We're vulnerable, authentic, and transparent with one another. And it started with no chemistry. It wasn't repulsiveness. It was like neutrality. And let me tell you why I think this happened on a spiritual level. I think this happened on a spiritual level to allow the emotional connection to catch up. And now the physical exists. And we're both very attracted to one another. So, you know what? I think we should be careful dismissing someone. And again, I wasn't repulsed by her. She wasn't repulsed by me. There was something, maybe there was something spiritual blocking us from moving towards each other from a sexual standpoint, but we moved towards each other on an emotional standpoint. In the last 6 weeks, she's become a very dear person in my life, a very dear friend. We'll see what happens. I do believe we have to get through the 3-month mark and the 9-month mark and that year mark, the 3-month, the 6-month, and the 9-month, I should say. I believe in breaking up in quarters because I think it can affect a relationship, and we're building those blocks together. Thankfully, she lives less, like 35 minutes away, so we're relatively close. We both have flexible lifestyles. We share the same values in many cases. We seem to have a flexible lifestyle. But what I dig about this person, and you know what it is, folks? I really, really like this person. Like, I like her. How many times have you looked at somebody and said, I'm attached to them, I'm attracted to them, but I don't necessarily like them? I like this person. Plus, she makes me laugh. Oh my God, we are constantly cracking up. We're cracking up at ourselves more than anything, but we're cracking up with each other. And so to come back to the question, I've always believed chemistry to be instant. I believe lust is instant. I believe limerence is instant. I think unhealthy attachment can be instant. But I think genuine heart connection is something that needs to be developed. It's not about falling in love. It's about rising to love. And by the way, love is a choice. Love is a choice. And you know what that choice is, I believe? I'm going to go a little deeper here right now. You know what I believe love is a choice? It's the choice to let go of the fears, to let go of the doubts, and to let go of the fantasy. And for those of us in midlife, many of us still have a fantasy realm. Let me just tell you, letting go of the fears, letting go of the doubts, letting go of the fantasy. That's the choice, is to let go of all of that and rise to love from a place of choice, not from a place of expectation. See, chemistry, the challenge with the chemistry narratives are you're already going like this to one another without really building the trust together. And trust is built through, folks, trust is built through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy. That is how trust is built. And make no mistake, sex is an important part of the decision-making process. Do you remember the TV show Friends, Monica and Chandler? They had spent several years developing a strong friendship together. And when they were at Ross's wedding and found themselves in bed together, then all of a sudden it was like game on. Like the sex was the icing on the cake because they developed the core like for one another. They liked one another. They enjoyed talking to one another. That's how it should feel. It should feel like you're talking with your best friend. And if you're not feeling it in your body, if you're not feeling if you're not feeling excitement, not from an anxiety place, not from a butterfly type of place, but from a place of real enthusiasm, and most importantly, a place of curiosity. Do you know what I like about this person? She's radically curious. She always says, so Jonathan, I'm curious. I mean, literally every sentence starts with Jonathan, I'm curious. And one of the things she wrote in her dating profile that she wrote me, she said, people without curiosity lack imagination. I remember that was the hook when she said, people without curiosity lack imagination. This is why I'm such a big proponent to be curious in the early stage of dating, to ask those deeper questions early on, because that's how you build intimacy. And intimacy isn't about the penis and the vagina. Intimacy is into me, you see. Was it Esther Perel who said that? I can't remember who first coined it. Into me, you see. And so chemistry certainly can kickstart the engine, but chemistry is a weak indicator of relationship success. Emotional connection, developing that deep, rich friendship. That is the kickstarter to a healthy, happy relationship. And so there, I shared my personal life as of this day, July 2025. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. And again, if you want to connect with me, schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Listed below.